If you watch some of the same channels that I watch, you have probably seen this Outlier chassis system advertised for $99. Now, Outlier is a part of Arkin, the scope company. I have two Arkin scopes. I enjoy them both very much. I am definitely a fan of them. They have a very economical optic that is very clear, and as many people have pointed out, if you need a $4,000 scope, buy a $4,000 scope. But for most of us, optics like the Arkin, and there's several other on that list that do the job for substantially cheaper, and you don't really notice until you need to notice that there's that big of a difference. So is it just as good? For the most part, yeah, it's just as good. So no shame here about either Outlier or Arkin. There's no budget shaming here at all. I do a lot of budget things, and this is not necessarily a budget build right here. This is an 8.6 blackout, and the way it sets here is probably around $4,000. Facts in action, very nice, custom Mostech barrel. This is chambered in 8.6 blackout, but that's not why I'm showing you this. I'm showing you this because of the Timber Creek Outdoors chassis. It's the burnt bronze part of this, and so you buy the chassis, you can buy a barreled action, you can keep the same stock trigger, or you can do a custom trigger. I have a Elfman tactical trigger in here that is phenomenal, and then you add your scope and 2 bolts and you're hunting. It really is that simple. The reason for this video is because the Outlier is advertised as a $99 chassis system, and when you click on that, you'll see, yes, you can get the chassis part from here to here for $99, but you'll have to add a handguard. There's 3 options on there, and they add about $150 to $175 depending on the length that you go. They have one shorter than this, one about this same 10-inch, and then they have one that's quite a bit longer. If you're doing a longer barrel, you may want a longer handguard on there. So there's 3 choices on there. And Odin Works ARCA in a M-LOK slot there, so I can ARCA to my Sunway photo tripods. I find it a little disingenuous to say you have a $99 chassis system when you definitely don't. It's definitely $300 or $400 to get your chassis set up the way you want it. And then you add that $100 barrel. If you want a couple of options on there, that barrel goes up to regular pricing of $200 or $300, which is about the price of a good barrel. The custom barrels, like a Mostech, they're going to be more like $400 or $500, but it is a good deal on a barrel. But it's not a $99 barrel, and it's not a crazy good barrel. It's definitely not a $99 barrel. I don't know how good the barrel is. Overton Windex shot a pretty good group with his. Hootie Who has a video coming out any day now where he's going to shoot some groups with his. I think that it could be a pretty good barrel for the money. I like what they're doing. I just don't like that it's being advertised as a $99 chassis. It's definitely not. And it's not a $99 barrel. It's definitely not. So there are many other choices out there that exist in that range. So I'm going to show you 2 chassis. One of them I have in my hands, and one of them is coming to me. This is the Timber Creek chassis. And again, it doesn't have the ARCA either, but you can add it for $30 with a really high quality Odin Works or other reputable manufacturer. You can add an ARCA rail on there and put it exactly where you want it. And of course, you can even do the long ones where you can have the full length. That's totally fine. The other chassis is coming to us very soon. Next year, we are going to be doing a PRS build, and it's going to be in a Ultradyne chassis. I'll show some pictures here of the Ultradyne. It is really cool. It's available in 3 links as well. You go ahead and spec them out. You also have to add a stock to those. Now, here's a cool feature on the Timber Creek chassis as well as the Ultradyne and the Outlier. They take the buffer style. So all of the AR-10, AR-15 stocks that you want to run, they just screw in, and they use the exact same system. They've got an end plate, they've got a castle nut, and they've got a buffer tube. All 3 of those chassis work with any buffer style tube, which is kind of cool. There are other chassis systems that have dedicated stocks that work with them, but I do like, from a frugality, a budget perspective, as well as just a vast amount of options, not reinventing the wheel. They just use a buffer system, so you probably have one that would work, and you can always easily upgrade down the road. So if you're looking at an Outlier, I think there's several people who are having good luck with them. I have no problem with them. I just don't like that they're advertised as $99 when they're clearly not $99 once you get them even remotely set up the way that you want to do it. If you're going to do a custom or semi-custom bolt gun, it's pretty much no way around it. It's going to cost you around $1,200 to $1,500 plus a scope. There's no way around it. If you're buying a donor, the only way to get cheaper than that is if you already owned the action that you're going to and you already owned a scope. That's pretty much the only way you're going to keep this under $1,500 because your barrel and your chassis, they're going to be around $800 or $900 for the two of those things together. You add a stock, the Outlier stock and the Ultradyne stock. They're both $250. So it is expensive. There's no way around it. It's going to be over $1,000 to get it set up and hunting. So if you're building a rifle at all, hit me up on Instagram or on X. I love to talk guns with pretty much anyone. So send me a picture. Let me know what you're building. I'm interested in it. This is the bolt action stuff is relatively new to me. This is kind of a new thing. This gun came together a couple of months ago. We've got several hundred rounds on it and I love it. But I still favor the semi-autos, but we're trying to become a bolt action guy. So anyway, I hope this helps you out. If I can help you in any way, hit me up. Eagle Run 23. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.